What's up, Plasma Gang? It's me, Plasma Eraser, and we're back again with another video. One thing I wanted to talk about is mechagodzilla downplay. I've seen a couple videos that say my goat mechagodzilla, he's weak. I bear you, he is not. Like, I've seen one person say that he should be weaker than Kong with his axe and his beast glove. I bet you mechagodzilla is a lot stronger than that. And I've also heard that he should only scale to continental ranges. Looking at you, Goji Chronic. So today, I will be testing how strong mechagodzilla really is. So first, let's go over his feats. But before we go over his feats, I just want you to know that I'm gonna do my best to try and not glaze mechagodzilla too much, as I don't want anyone to get really mad at me or anything. But with that disclaimer out of the way, let's now go over his feats. First up is strength. Mechagodzilla has quite a few good feats of strength, like holding up a skull crawler and throwing Godzilla around. Another good feat is when he grabbed Kong and threw him on the ground, and when he was able to still stand up even when Kong landed on his back. Monsterverse Kong weighing in at 90,000 tons. Mechagodzilla can also punch extremely hard, his punches ending with a flash of blue energy. His strength can also be increased with the jet boosters on his back. Another good feat of strength, statement of strength that is that lots of people say that Godzilla should be stronger than Mechagodzilla due to the fact that Godzilla was low on energy when he fought Mechagodzilla. However, the thing that should be noted is that due to the fact that if Mechagodzilla was powered by a pure Hollow Earth energy source instead of the artificial one that was shown in the movie, it should also be noted that Mechagodzilla wasn't likely at 100% power either. With strength out of the way, let's now move on to Mechagodzilla's speed. I've seen some sources that say he can run up to around 700 miles an hour. Kong, in the Monsterverse, runs at around 400 miles an hour. This would essentially mean that Mechagodzilla is faster than Kong. However, I have a feeling that Mechagodzilla can only run at around 700 miles an hour with his jet boosters. Without them, he can probably only run at around 400 to 500 miles an hour. However, still, do not underestimate him in terms of speed. He is still incredibly fast. But before we move on to durability, I just wanted to say, if you're liking this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Some of these videos take a lot of work, and also, we're on the road to 100 subscribers, and I really think we can get there. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's now move on to durability. It should be noted that Mechagodzilla was slightly buffed in GXK due to the fact that his material is what makes up the Beast Glove. The reason why the Beast Glove buffs Mechagodzilla is, as we can see, Godzilla's bite and scratches couldn't scratch the Beast Glove. And it also withstood Shima's Frostbite Blast. Well, yes, Shima's Frostbite Blast does really only freeze her targets. Let's also remember that this is the same Frostbite Blast that seriously injured Kong, to the point where until Kong got the Beast Glove, he had to use his left hand the entire time. Another thing about the Beast Glove withstanding Shima's Frostbite Blast is the fact that you have to remember, when you freeze something, it usually has a bunch of microfractures, and when you hit it with something, it usually breaks very easily. And as we can see with Kong, when he smashed the Beast Glove into a building and tore the ice off, the Beast Glove did not shatter or have any tiny little pieces fall off. So the fact that Mechagodzilla is made out of the same material as the Beast Glove would mean that he would not suffer from microfractures or Shima's Frostbite Blast, which means he's a lot more durable than people think he is. Now, let's move on to Mechagodzilla's intelligence. So, to figure out Mechagodzilla's intelligence, let's figure out who is piloting him. In the movie, Mechagodzilla was supposed to be piloted by Ren Serizawa, the son of Dr. Serizawa. But later, he was overtaken by Ghidorah, who is now piloting this mech. And which head of Ghidorah is piloting Mechagodzilla, you may ask? Well, the head of Ghidorah that is piloting this mech is the left head, or as many people call him, Kevin. As a lot of you may know, Kevin is mainly the gooster head of Ghidorah. He is mainly the most ignorant head. However, it is possible that Kevin has gained some intelligence when he was in Mechagodzilla's body in GVK. In the battle between him and Godzilla, as we can see, Kevin took quite a bit of pleasure into making Godzilla suffer and throwing him around. Another thing that would make Mechagodzilla smarter is the fact that he has learning algorithms built into his AI. These are learning algorithms that allow Mechagodzilla to make quick and calculated decisions. Now with IQ out of the way, now let's move on to his battle intelligence. In GVK, Mechagodzilla has only really fought 2 kaiju. Well, 3 if you count the Skullcrawler, but that was more of an execution. In the movie, Mechagodzilla has fought Godzilla and Kong, and what makes this impressive is that he fought them both by himself. While yes, both Godzilla and Kong were very tired, the fact that he was able to fight both of them at the same time is still impressive. And while yes, Mechagodzilla did execute the Skullcrawler, the fact that he would have gone through this many more times shows that he went through lots of battle simulation, and has probably been piloted many times. Now let's move on to Mechagodzilla's agility. Despite Mechagodzilla being a very large machine, he tends to move quite fast due to the fact that he has jet boosters on his back. These jet boosters allow Mechagodzilla to make sharp turns and turn around very quickly. As we can see, this is what allowed him to move around Godzilla. With agility out of the way, now let's move on to Mechagodzilla's abilities. Mechagodzilla is equipped with buzzsaw claws. On Mechagodzilla's claws and fingers, he is equipped with buzzsaws. These buzzsaws, if latched onto other titans for long enough, could possibly slice through flesh and also tear off limbs. Mechagodzilla is also equipped with a scorpion-like drill tail. In my opinion, I think the drill tail could have drilled through Godzilla's flesh. I think the only reason that it wasn't shown drilling through Godzilla's flesh on screen is because if you've seen Dangerville's video yet, I don't think Adam Wingard wanted to risk the movie getting an R rating. Because of the quarantine, Adam wanted as many people to see Godzilla vs. Kong as possible, so I think the reason Mechagodzilla wasn't shown using his drill tail on other titans is because the people at Legendary, they were just too much of a wimp to show like a gory scene on a PG-13 movie. So yeah, because of that statement, I feel like Mechagodzilla could have drilled through Godzilla or Kong. With the drill tail ability out of the way, let's now move on to Mechagodzilla's proton scream. In GVK, Mechagodzilla is shown to have a proton scream, a giant red laser beam. This laser beam is so hot that it literally sliced through buildings and even burned the flesh of Godzilla. Let's remember that legendary Godzilla took the Permian explosion, which he walked away from without a scratch. This would essentially give Mechagodzilla a weapon that can outdo massive explosions, which would probably grant him some multi-continental to I'd even say small moon level types of scaling. Another ability Mechagodzilla possesses is, as we discussed, he has jet boosters on his back, which allow him to increase his strength, speed, and agility. And he is also equipped with hollow earth energy punches. Another thing Mechagodzilla is equipped with is on his back shoulders, he has missiles, which were enough to stun and slow down Godzilla. And finally, the last ability that Mechagodzilla has is that it is stated that on his tail, he has jet boosters, or water boosters, that are helped to make him swim. This ability was never shown in film, as we never saw him fight Godzilla or Kong in the water, but it has been stated somewhere. I just don't know where it was. Okay, so finally, after all the feats covered, after all we discussed, we can finally get to the bracket that Mechagodzilla will be facing. In the monsterverse, Mechagodzilla will be facing against the male Muto, Behemoth, Scylla, Tiamat, Mothra, Rodan, Kong, Godzilla, King Ghidorah, and finally, Shimo. With all the kaiju in the bracket lined up, let's hop into it. So first up is the male Muto, and yeah, the male Muto is not surviving this. I mean, you could argue that the Muto's EMP could shut Mechagodzilla down. However, let's remember that Mechagodzilla is powered by the hollow earth energy and not standard electricity. So the Muto's EMP would not work. I feel like all Mechagodzilla would have to do is just grab onto the Muto and just smash him and punch him over and over and over again till he's dead. Next up is Behemoth, and again, Mechagodzilla's winning this fight. I mean, Behemoth got his tusk, which is the most durable part of his body, snapped off by a kaiju made of trees and mud. So just imagine how damaged he would be if he was hit by Mechagodzilla's proton scream. With Behemoth out of the way, let's now move on to the giant spider, Scylla. Scylla will be more of a challenge than Behemoth in the male Muto due to the fact that Scylla has squared up against Godzilla before. While I do think Mechagodzilla can beat Scylla, I think she would be a bit of a challenge for him just due to the fact that she is quite agile and she is quite strong, being able to throw around Godzilla with her face tentacles. Monsterverse Godzilla weighing in at around 99,634 US tons. With Scylla out of the way, let's now move on to the water titan dragon, Tiamat. Now, this fight would be interesting, as this fight would have to happen underwater, since Tiamat can only come on land for a short amount of time. So let's discuss how this fight would play out. Because this fight will be happening in the water, I could see Mechagodzilla activating his jet water boosters to help him move around in the water. Personally, I think Mechagodzilla would win in a fight in the water against Tiamat, because he could just do what Godzilla did, blast his beam and blow Tiamat to pieces. With Tiamat out of the way, let's now move on to Mothra. And in my opinion, I think Mothra would actually be one of the easier kaiju to beat, given that she is a lot smaller than Scylla, Behemoth, the male Muto, and Tiamat. I feel like all Mechagodzilla would have to do is use his missiles or grab onto Mothra and slam her onto the ground, and then she is dead. Sorry, Rad Lad. Next up is Rodan, and for this fight, we'll be covering Rodan's stats. Rodan, on the other hand, was able to slam Mothra into a building, Mothra weighing in at around 25,000 tons. Rodan was also able to somewhat stop Ghidorah, as we saw in Goji Guy's video. However, we should note that in Goji Guy's video, he did say that Rodan was using his own body as like a counterweight to help him stop Ghidorah. However, still, someone stopping Ghidorah is still a very good feat. Next up is speed, and I think Rodan does well in this category, as he was able to catch up to the Argo, which flew at around Mach 1 to Mach 2. Next up is durability, and I think Rodan has a few good feats. First off, Rodan is able to survive being in lava. Lava coming in at around 1,300 to 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit. And even more impressively, he was able to survive being slammed into Ghidorah. Ghidorah coming in at around 146,000 tons. For Rodan's IQ, he doesn't really show him very much. However, he was able to show us that he was able to do a barrel roll to prevent the planes from escaping. And finally, we have abilities. Rodan has his Thunderclap, which he uses to create a massive shockwave when he slams his wings together. And I was gonna say he does shoot fireballs like we saw in Goji Guy's video. However, when I looked it up, it turns out Rodan does not shoot fireballs. And that's it for Rodan's stats. So let's figure out who would win in a fight. Him or Mechagodzilla? Well, I still think Mechagodzilla can pass, just due to the fact that Rodan was able to be beaten by Kong, as discussed in Goji Guy's video, and since the fact that Mechagodzilla is likely a lot stronger than Kong, I say Mechagodzilla beats Rodan. And before any of you say, but oh, Rodan can just melt through Mechagodzilla. Well, yes, Rodan is extremely hot due to the fact that his blood is practically lava. You need to remember that lava only has like a temperature of 1,300 to 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit. Mechagodzilla is made out of titanium, which burns at over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So Rodan would likely heat Mechagodzilla up. I don't think he could melt through his metal exoskeleton. So once again, Mechagodzilla moves on. Next up is Kong, the giant gorilla, and I don't want to hear anyone say that Kong is a monkey, he's an ape. And well, I don't think I really need to go over Kong's stats, as Goji Guy discussed in his video that Mechagodzilla would beat Kong even if Kong had his axe. So Mechagodzilla once again moves on. So next up is Godzilla, and I say this is where Mechagodzilla stops. Well, yes, Mechagodzilla is strong. I'm not sure if he's like stronger than Godzilla. I mean, he would put up quite a match for Godzilla, but I still think Godzilla would beat him. And even if Mechagodzilla was able to beat Godzilla, I definitely don't think he could beat Ghidorah or Shimo. So yeah, that is all for today. And let me know down in the comments whether you agree or you disagree with this video. And also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And before we leave, I just wanted to give credits to Goji Guy, Goji Chronic, Goji Center, and Dangerville. And since I used a lot of content, I wanted to give a huge thanks to Legendary Pictures for the content. But anyways, that's all for today, Plasma Gang. Plasma Eraser, out.